My name is Diego, and I was there when Mia's story changed forever. It was a crisp morning on April 15th, 2022, when everything shifted. Mia stood in the sun-drenched courtyard of that quaint cafe downtown, her heart racing as she faced her ex-husband for the first time since their bitter separation. She smiled, but the warmth of the sun couldn't reach the chill of her heart, which felt like it had been frozen in time. The rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the gentle sound of wind chimes swaying nearby, creating a bitter symphony of hope and heartbreak. Despite her outward calm, she smiled but trembled, battling the storm of emotions swirling within her. How can blood turn to poison like this? What nobody knew was that this encounter was about to unravel secrets that would forever alter the course of their lives. Among those secrets lay a truth that had haunted Mia since the moment she learned about the abandoned younger woman, 5 years her junior, who had unknowingly become entwined in their fractured marriage. As the past surged back to the surface, Mia was forced to confront the reality of her ex-husband's choices and the profound impact they had on her life, transforming this seemingly mundane meeting into a pivotal moment of reckoning. Mia stood in her living room, a quaint space adorned with bright, colorful paintings that spoke of her passion for art. The sun streamed through the windows, casting a warm glow over the room, illuminating the small gathering of friends who had become her family after the storm of her marriage ended. The scent of fresh apple pie wafted in from the kitchen, mingling with the rich aroma of morning coffee brewing in the corner. It was a Saturday ritual she cherished, brunch with her closest friends, a moment of solace amidst the chaos that had become her life. "Can you believe how fast the kids are growing?" Grace said, her voice bright with excitement. She poured herself a cup of coffee, the steam curling up into the air, dancing like their laughter. Mia nodded, her heart heavy. "Oh my God, I can't believe this. It feels like just yesterday we were all in college, dreaming about our future." She glanced at Olivia, her sister, who sat across from her, a smirk playing on her lips. Olivia had always found comfort in chaos, and Mia could sense her eagerness for the drama that seemed to follow her. "Yeah, and now look at us," Olivia chimed in, feigning innocence. "Single and navigating through this mess called life." There was an edge to her tone, a subtle dig that stung more than Mia cared to admit. She could almost feel the betrayal swell within her, a familiar ache that had settled in ever since James walked out the door, leaving her for a younger woman. The thought alone made her heart sink. "Come on, Mia, you've got this," Grace said, her voice soothing. "You've rebuilt your life, and you're doing an amazing job as a mom and an art teacher. That exhibit next week is going to be a hit." Mia forced a smile, grateful for Grace's unwavering support. The community art exhibit was her way of celebrating local talent, a chance to showcase creativity and connection, something she desperately needed in her own life. The excitement bubbled within her, but it was quickly overshadowed by memories of a love that had once felt unbreakable. "Remember the first exhibit we did?" Grace asked, her eyes sparkling with nostalgia. "We were so nervous, and now look at you. You've come so far." "Yeah, but it's not the same without James," Mia replied, her voice wavering. The silence that followed was palpable, heavy with unspoken words. She could feel Olivia's gaze, a mix of envy and satisfaction. In the living room, it hurt like betrayal. As they continued to chat, laughter and conversation filled the air. But Mia's mind drifted back to that moment when everything changed. James had walked away, believing he could find happiness elsewhere, and she had been left to pick up the pieces. The echo of his absence lingered in her heart, a constant reminder of the love she had sacrificed for their family. "Mia, you need to put yourself out there," Grace urged, breaking her reverie. "You're an incredible woman. There are plenty of men who would be lucky to have you." Mia sighed. "I don't know, Grace. It's hard to imagine dating again. I mean, what if I get hurt again?" "That's a risk we all take," Grace replied gently, "but you deserve to be happy." Just as Mia was about to respond, the sound of a car door slamming outside caught her attention. Distant traffic hummed, but this noise was different, familiar and unexpected. Her heart raced as she glanced toward the window. "Is that James?" Olivia asked, a hint of mischief in her voice. Mia's stomach twisted. "I can't believe it," she whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. The doorbell rang, and for a moment, time stood still. Grace exchanged a glance with Mia, her eyes wide with concern. "What are you going to do?" Mia took a deep breath, her thoughts a whirlwind. The man who had once promised her the world now stood outside her door, perhaps seeking forgiveness or a second chance. Thought, the smell of apple pie brought painful memories. As she approached the door, Mia felt the weight of her past pressing down on her. Would she be strong enough to confront him, to face the man who had left her shattered? With trembling hands, she opened the door, her heart racing. There he was, James, looking older but still charming, that familiar smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. "Mia," he began, his voice filled with a mix of regret and longing. "I know I've hurt you, but I've realized something." Mia spoke first. "Why are you here, James?" His expression faltered, and for a moment, she saw a flicker of the man she had once loved. But could she trust him again? The room felt charged with emotion, the air thick with unspoken words and memories that haunted her. "Mia, please, just hear me out," he pleaded, desperation etched across his face. Her heart raced, caught between the past and an uncertain future. Would she really let him back in, after everything? In that moment, everything she thought she knew hung in the balance, and the chaos of her life seemed poised to start all over again. Mia stood in her kitchen, the aroma of fresh grass wafting in through the open window as she prepared for the day ahead. The distant sounds of traffic outside created a familiar backdrop, one that had become almost comforting over the years. Today, however, felt different. An unexpected call from James had shattered her routine, stirring emotions she thought she had buried deep. "Can we meet? It's about our daughter's birthday," he had said, his voice both familiar and foreign, a strange combination of nostalgia and dread. Mia had hesitated, but ultimately agreed, the memory of their daughter's laughter echoing in her mind, pulling her into a web of unresolved feelings. As she arrived at the coffee shop, the bustling atmosphere felt like a surreal contrast to her inner turmoil. She spotted him across the room, his confident posture accentuated by a sharply tailored suit. Mia's heart sank as she approached, the image of her once happy family flashing before her eyes. "Hey Mia," James greeted, a charming smile spreading across his face. But it didn't reach his eyes. They were hollow, as if he had been searching for something he could never find. "James," she replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than a greeting. "You look different." "Yeah, I've been busy," he said, shrugging casually as if his absence had been a mere inconvenience. "But it's great to see you. I wanted to introduce you to someone." He gestured toward a young woman standing beside him, her vibrant energy radiating like the sun. "This is Clara. She's an artist." Mia's breath caught in her throat. Clara was in her 20s, a stark contrast to Mia's own 30-something self. The sight of them together felt like a punch in the gut, each laugh and shared glance a reminder of what she had lost. "Oh my God," she muttered under her breath, her heart racing. "Nice to meet you, Mia," Clara said, her voice sweet and light. There was no malice in her tone, but Mia couldn't help feeling the weight of the situation. "Likewise," Mia managed to reply, her voice barely above a whisper. She turned to James, her frustration boiling just below the surface. "You couldn't have told me you were bringing someone?" James shrugged again, his expression unreadable. "I thought it'd be nice for you to meet her. We're happy together." The words stung, and Mia's mind raced. How had he moved on so quickly? The betrayal felt fresh. The wounds still raw despite the years that had passed. "You don't get to decide what's nice for me, James," she snapped, her voice rising. "Look, I didn't come here to fight," he said, his tone defensive. I just want to make sure everything is good for the birthday." Mia took a deep breath, grounding herself. "You think it's easy for me to see you with her after everything?" Clara, sensing the tension, smiled awkwardly. "I didn't mean to intrude. I just want to support James." "Support him? By taking my place?" Mia's heart raced as she felt anger boil over. "Do you even know what he put me through?" James shifted uncomfortably, his charm faltering. "Mia, this isn't about us anymore. It's about our daughter." At that moment, Mia felt a shift within herself. Reflection. That moment at the coffee shop changed everything. She realized she had spent too long living in the shadows of their past. "You're right," she said, her voice steadier than before. "It is about her. But you need to understand that you can't just waltz back into my life whenever it suits you." James looked down, a flash of remorse crossing his features. "I know I messed up, but I'm trying to do better. I want to be there for her." Mia's resolve softened, but the hurt lingered like a ghost. "Being there means more than just showing up when it's convenient, James. You have to be consistent." "I get it," he said, meeting her gaze. "I really do. I want to make amends, for her sake and for us, if you'll let me." Mia's heart raced at the implication, yet she could feel the weight of the past pressing down on her. "I can't just forget what happened, James. You left me for someone younger, someone you thought would make you happy." "I was wrong," he replied, his voice low. "I thought I could find something I lost, but it was never about her. It was about me running away from my mistakes." Mia felt a mixture of emotions, anger, sadness, but also a flicker of hope. Could they really find a way to navigate this new terrain together? "I don't know if I can trust you again," Mia admitted, the vulnerability in her voice surprising even her. "I'll earn your trust back, I promise," he said, sincerity shining through his facade. "Just give me a chance." As they continued to talk, the sun began to set outside, casting a warm glow over the coffee shop. The air shifted, filled with the promise of new beginnings, yet tinged with the complexities of their shared history. Cultural reflection, in the kitchen, it hurt like strength. Mia was beginning to understand that healing would take time, but perhaps, just perhaps, they could find their way back to each other, one step at a time. Mia took a deep breath. "We need to have a serious conversation." James tensed up. About what exactly? Mia sat at the small table in the art supply store, the scent of fresh paint and varnish mingling in the air as she carefully arranged her new brushes and canvases. Each stroke of her brush was a release, a way to channel the feelings of betrayal and anger that had simmered within her since James had walked out the door. She could still hear the echoes of his laughter, now a distant memory, replaced by the sound of wind chimes that danced softly outside the shop. The bell above the door jingled, and Mia looked up, expecting a familiar face. Instead, she found Clara, James's new girlfriend, standing there, a picture of vibrant youth and confidence. The sight of her made Mia's heart sink, her mind racing back to the day James had chosen Clara over her, leaving her to pick up the pieces of a shattered life. "Oh my God!" Clara exclaimed, her eyes widening in surprise. "Mia, I didn't expect to see you here." Mia forced a smile, her stomach twisting. "Yeah, just picking up some supplies. You know how it is." Clara's smile faltered slightly, but she regained her composure quickly. "Right, I've been meaning to check out some of your latest work. James has mentioned how talented you are." The mention of his name made Mia's skin prickle, and she fought the urge to roll her eyes. "Thanks, but I'm not really in the mood for critiques today." Clara took a step closer, her expression shifting from surprise to something more guarded. "You don't have to be like that, Mia. I didn't take him away from you. You two were already, well, you know." Mia clenched her jaw, feeling the heat rise in her cheeks. "You're right. He did that all on his own." A tense silence hung between them, the air thick with unspoken words. Mia could feel the weight of her emotions, the anger bubbling just beneath the surface, threatening to spill over. She stepped back, creating some distance, hoping to regain her composure. "Look, I didn't come here to fight," Clara said, her voice wavering slightly. "I just wanted to talk." "Talk about what? How you took my life and turned it upside down?" Mia shot back, the bitterness spilling out before she could stop it. Clara's face fell, and for a moment, Mia felt a pang of empathy. But it was quickly overshadowed by the memories of her own heartbreak. "You have everything I wanted, Mia. I can't imagine how hard this has been for you," Clara admitted, her voice softening. Mia took a deep breath, the smell of rain on the pavement wafting in through the open door, mingling with the scent of paint. "It's not your fault," she said, her voice steadier now. "But it's hard to see you here, pretending like everything is fine." Clara nodded, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "I get that, but I hope you know that I care about him too." Mia's heart raced, and she could feel a mix of anger and sadness wash over her. Caring about someone doesn't erase the pain they caused. As if on cue, Grace walked into the shop, her presence like a refreshing breeze. "Mia, there you are! I was just looking for you!" She paused, taking in the tension between the two women. "Oh, hey, Clara." "Hi, Grace." Clara replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mia, can we talk?" Grace said, glancing at Clara with an expression that screamed, "Let's get out of here." Mia nodded, grateful for the escape. "Sure." As they walked outside, the cool breeze brushed against her skin, and Mia felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The backyard of the art supply store was small but inviting, with potted plants and a few chairs scattered around. Grace settled into one of the chairs, motioning for Mia to join her. "What was that all about?" Grace asked, concern etched on her face. Mia sighed, staring off into the distance. "I just ran into Clara. It's like running into a ghost of my past." Grace frowned. "I can't believe she had the nerve to show up here. You deserve so much better." Mia chuckled bitterly. "Oh, I know, but it's hard to shake off the memories." "Do you still have feelings for James?" Grace asked, leaning forward. The question hung in the air, and Mia felt her heart twist. "Sometimes. I think I do. But it's not love. It's anger, betrayal, and maybe a little bit of regret." As the wind chimes tinkled softly in the breeze, Mia reflected on how far she had come since the day James left. She had poured her pain into her art, finding strength in the colors and textures that filled her canvases. Each piece was a testament to her journey, one of healing and resilience. Suddenly, she paused, a thought striking her like lightning. "What if he came back?" she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Grace raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "What if James wanted to reconcile? What if he realized he made a mistake?" Mia's heart raced at the thought. "Mia, you can't seriously consider that," Grace exclaimed, her eyes wide with disbelief. "You've worked so hard to move on." But before Mia could respond, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out, her heart racing as she saw the name on the screen. James. "Speak of the devil," Mia muttered, feeling a mixture of dread and curiosity. "What's he want?" Grace asked, her voice steady yet cautious. Mia took a deep breath, her emotions swirling as she answered the call. "Hello?" "Mia, can we talk? I need to explain," James said, his voice laced with urgency. As Mia listened to his words, the weight of her past loomed large, and she realized she had a choice to make, one that could change everything. Mia stood in her backyard, the scent of freshly cut grass mingling with the earthy aroma of rain on pavement. The wind chimes tinkled softly above her, creating a soothing melody that contrasted sharply with the storm brewing inside her. She felt a rush of nostalgia as she flipped through the old photo album she had stumbled upon earlier that day, a relic from a time when her world felt stable and whole. Each page turned brought forth memories, her wedding day, the laughter of their daughter at birthday parties, but also a sense of dread that clawed at her gut. As she turned the pages, her heart sank. There, tucked between photos of smiling faces, was a snapshot of James with Clara, taken 2 years before their marriage ended. The sun was shining on them, their smiles wide and carefree. Mia could hardly breathe. "Oh my God," she whispered to herself, the realization crashing over her like a tidal wave. This wasn't just betrayal, it was a calculated deception that tore at the fabric of her reality. The wind picked up, rustling the leaves overhead, almost as if the world was urging her to confront James. Gripping the album tightly, she marched back into the house, determination fueling her steps. She found him in the living room, tossing a football with their daughter, laughter ringing out like a cruel reminder of what they once had. "James," she called, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. He looked up, and for a moment she saw a flicker of confusion in his eyes, as if he sensed the storm brewing. "We need to talk." "About what?" he asked. Preserve the original language, but Mia could see the tension in his jaw. "This," she said, brandishing the album. "I found this. Why didn't you tell me? You were seeing Clara long before we even split." His expression shifted, a blend of surprise and then something darker. "Mia, that was a long time ago. It doesn't matter now." Her heart raced, anger boiling beneath her skin. "It matters to me. You left me for her, and now I find out it wasn't even a spur-of-the-moment decision? You planned this." James ran a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "Look, I didn't want to hurt you. I thought I could find happiness. I didn't mean for it to go this far." "Didn't mean for it to go this far?" Mia's voice rose, filled with disbelief. "You hurt me, James. You shattered our family for someone else, and now you stand here acting like it was all just a mistake?" He stepped closer, attempting to soften the blow of his words. "I regret it, okay? I regret everything, but you have to understand. I was lost. I thought I could escape." Mia shook her head, the weight of his words suffocating her. "Escape? You didn't just run away. You dragged us through the mud while you chased after a fantasy. My heart sank every single day you were gone, and now you want forgiveness?" James's voice grew sharper, a defensive edge creeping in. "I don't expect forgiveness, but can't you see I'm trying to make amends? I miss what we had, Mia." The wind chimes tinkled again, almost mockingly, as silence fell between them. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken words and unresolved pain. Mia took a step back, feeling the tears prick at her eyes. "You can't just waltz back into my life because you feel guilty. That's not how this works." "Maybe not," he conceded, his voice dropping to a whisper. "But I want to try. I want to be a family again. Can't we at least talk about it?" Mia's heart raced. Preserve the original love that still flickered like a dying ember and the betrayal that had burned her so deeply. She recalled the laughter of their daughter, the way they had once been a unit, and the warmth of summer barbecues where everything felt right. But those memories were tainted now, each one a reminder of the chaos that had followed her heartbreak. "You can't just erase the past, James," she said, her voice trembling. "You want to rebuild something? It's not that simple." As she turned away, the memories flooded back. Olivia's disdain, Grace's unwavering support, all of it coiling around her like a noose. In that moment, she realized that her journey wasn't just about James and his regrets, it was about reclaiming herself. Cultural reflection. In the backyard, it hurt like heartbreak. Mia's resolve hardened. "I need time. I need to figure out if I can even trust you again." James nodded slowly, the weight of her words settling heavily between them. "I understand. Just don't shut me out completely." She stepped outside, the cool breeze brushing against her skin as the first drops of rain began to fall. The wind chimes continued their gentle song, and Mia breathed deeply, feeling the weight of the world shift just a little. The storm was far from over, but for the first time in years, she felt a flicker of hope amid the chaos. Reflection. That moment in the backyard changed everything. Mia stood in her living room, surrounded by the comforting scent of freshly brewed coffee. The morning light filtered through the windows, casting a warm glow on the walls, and for a moment she let herself breathe. It was a rare moment of peace, one that felt like a fragile promise after the chaos of the past few years. She had spent countless hours nursing her heartbreak, pouring her pain into art, and now it was time to share her journey with the world. In the corner of the room, a canvas awaited her touch. A blank space that seemed to echo her own feelings of emptiness and hope. Mia had been preparing for this moment for weeks, meticulously planning an exhibit that would showcase not just her art, but her resilience. Each piece told a story of betrayal, growth, and the rediscovery of her own voice. She wanted to convey everything she had learned since James left her for a younger woman, everything that had felt shattered and broken. The wind chimes hanging by the porch danced softly in the breeze, creating a melody that stirred something deep within her. It reminded her of the moments she used to cherish with James, moments that now felt like distant echoes. "Oh my God, how did it come to this?" she whispered to herself, the question lingering in the air like a ghost. A sudden knock at the door jolted her from her thoughts. It was Grace, her steadfast friend who had stood by her through the darkest days. "I brought coffee," Grace announced cheerfully, stepping into the living room with a sense of purpose. "And I thought we could go over your exhibit plans." "Thanks, Grace. I really appreciate it." Mia tried to muster a smile, but the weight of her emotions made it difficult. Grace set the steaming cup on the table, its rich aroma mingling with the morning air. "You've come so far, Mia. I can't believe how much you've grown since, well, you know." Her eyes flickered with understanding, the kind that only a true friend could provide. Mia nodded, her heart sinking as memories of James flooded back. "I just want to show everyone that I'm okay, that I've reclaimed my life. This exhibit is my way of saying I'm still here." "Absolutely! You're stronger than you realize," Grace encouraged, her enthusiasm palpable. "We'll make sure everyone knows what you've accomplished. This isn't just about art, it's about your journey." As they discussed the finer details, Mia felt a sense of empowerment blooming within her. She reached for the brush and began to paint a vivid piece that encapsulated her journey, a mix of dark hues representing her sorrow and bright colors symbolizing her newfound strength. With each stroke, she could almost feel the weight of her heartbreak lifting, replaced by a fierce determination. Then, just as they were wrapping up their brainstorming session, Mia's phone buzzed unexpectedly. She glanced at the screen and her heart raced. It was a message from James. "Can we talk? I need to see you." Mia's heart sank, and she felt a mix of anxiety and anger surge within her. "I can't believe this," she said, her voice trembling. "After all this time, he wants to talk?" Grace reached over, placing a comforting hand on Mia's shoulder. "You don't have to do anything you're not ready for. Remember how far you've come. You owe him nothing." "I know, but..." Mia hesitated, torn between the anger of her past and the curiosity of what he had to say. The thought lingered heavily in the air, and she could feel the tension building between them. "What could he possibly want after all this time?" Mia muttered, frustration bubbling to the surface. "I don't think he's had the same journey you have," Grace replied carefully. "But you've changed, Mia. You're not the same woman he left behind." Mia took a deep breath, the smell of fresh coffee grounding her as she pondered the situation. Cultural reflection. In the living room, it hurt like heartbreak. This was her moment to decide. Would she let James back into her life, or would she stand firm in her newfound strength? Just then, a sudden gust of wind rattled the chimes outside, and Mia's resolve crystallized. She looked at Grace, determination shining in her eyes. "No, I won't let him disrupt my peace. I'm not that woman anymore." Grace smiled, pride evident in her expression. "That's the spirit. Just remember, you have a community behind you now. You're not alone in this." As Mia returned to her canvas, "Preserve the original language wash over her." The past was a part of her, but it would not define her future. She was ready for this exhibit, ready to share her story, and ready to embrace all the possibilities that lay ahead, without James. That moment in the living room changed everything. It marked the transition from a life overshadowed by betrayal to one illuminated by strength and creativity. Mia was ready to reclaim her narrative, one brushstroke at a time. Mia clenched her fists. "I don't want to hear any more excuses." James hung his head. "I'm truly sorry." The night of Mia's art exhibit arrived, and the air was thick with anticipation and the rich aroma of barbecued ribs wafting from the nearby grill. The gallery buzzed with voices, laughter, and the clinking of glasses, but Mia felt a knot tightening in her stomach. She adjusted her hair nervously, catching a glimpse of herself in the reflection of the glass display. "You've got this," she whispered under her breath. As she made her way through the throngs of people, she spotted Clara, James' new girlfriend, standing by one of Mia's paintings, a vibrant piece that depicted a phoenix rising from ashes. Clara's expression was one of feigned admiration, but Mia saw right through it. "Oh my God, can you believe how much attention this is getting?" Clara said loudly enough for those nearby to hear. "It's kind of sad, really, isn't it? Like a desperate cry for validation." Mia's heart sank. She had expected Clara to show up. After all, it was the perfect opportunity for her to take a jab. "I can't believe you'd say that," Mia replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "This art represents my journey, not a plea for validation." Clara rolled her eyes, a smirk playing on her lips. "Journey or not, it's still just paint on canvas. What's next? A reality show about your sad little life?" The comment cut deeper than Clara probably realized, and for a moment, preserved the original language of her past wrapping around her like an old, suffocating blanket. But then she remembered Grace's words from earlier. "Use your voice, Mia. Own your story." Taking a deep breath, she decided to embrace the moment, letting her emotions fuel her response. "What I've learned through heartbreak is that art isn't just for show, it's a reflection of survival." Suddenly, the gallery's lights dimmed, and the spotlight turned to Mia as she took the stage for a live interview. The room went quiet, and for a moment, she felt a surge of confidence wash over her. "Tonight is not just about art, it's about resilience," she began, her voice steady. "5 years ago, I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. I sacrificed everything for someone who didn't appreciate it." She glanced at Clara, who stood with her arms crossed, an expression of annoyance flickering across her face. "I thought I'd never be able to find joy again, but here I am. Each brushstroke is a testament to my journey of healing. It's about reclaiming my story." As she spoke, she could see the audience leaning in, captivated by her honesty. "And if you think this is just a desperate cry for attention, maybe you're the one missing the point," Mia added, her heart racing. The air felt electric, like the moments before a summer storm, and she could see a few heads nodding in agreement among the crowd. Clara's face paled, and for a split second, Mia felt a rush of triumph. It was as if she had stripped away the layers of doubt, revealing her true self. "You know what?" Clara shot back, her voice trembling slightly. "You think you're so strong, but you're just hiding behind your art. You're still that heartbroken woman who couldn't hold on to her husband." Mia's breath caught in her throat, and the winds outside rattled the gallery windows, echoing the turmoil inside her. But instead of crumbling, she felt a surge of clarity. "I'm not hiding, Clara. I'm standing tall. I've learned that true strength comes from facing your pain, not running from it." The audience erupted into applause, a wave of support crashing over her. Mia felt tears prick at her eyes, but she blinked them back, determined to stay strong. She had transformed her pain into something beautiful, and no one could take that away from her. In that moment, as the applause thundered around her, she realized something profound. This was not just about reclaiming her narrative, It was about empowering others who had faced similar struggles. The chaos that had once defined her life now served as a catalyst for growth. As she stepped off the stage, Grace rushed to her side, a proud smile lighting up her face. "You were incredible! I knew you had it in you," Grace exclaimed, pulling Mia into a tight hug. "You didn't just tell your story, you showed everyone what it means to rise from the ashes." Mia smiled through her tears, a mix of relief and pride flooding her chest. "I never thought I could find my voice again, but tonight, I think I finally did." But just as the moment of triumph settled in, the doors swung open and James stepped inside. The chatter faded as all eyes turned toward him. Mia's heart raced, a mix of shock and disbelief coursing through her veins. She hadn't expected to see him here, not after everything. The sight of him brought back a whirlwind of emotions, stirring memories she thought she had buried deep. "James," she breathed, unsure of what to feel. "What are you doing here?" He looked lost, a shadow of the man she once knew. "I came to see you, Mia. I've missed you, more than I can say." Mia's breath hitched. She had been prepared to face Clara, but James? This was an unexpected twist she hadn't seen coming. She felt the world tilt slightly, the solid ground beneath her suddenly uncertain. She had fought so hard to reclaim her life, and now, in front of everyone? The man who had shattered her heart was asking for a second chance. The room buzzed with whispers, and the intensity of the moment hung thick in the air. In that heartbeat, Mia knew she was at a crossroads. "Enough!" Mia shouted, her voice echoing. "Please, let me speak," James pleaded. "There's nothing left to say," Mia finalized. Mia stood in her living room, the scent of rain on the pavement wafting through the open window, mingling with the faint aroma of BBQ from a nearby backyard gathering. It was a bittersweet reminder of the life she once shared with James, a life filled with laughter and dreams, now overshadowed by the heartache of his departure. The wind chimes outside tinkled softly, a gentle melody that seemed to echo her mixed emotions. The exhibit had been a resounding success. Reviewers praised her work, calling it a raw reflection of resilience and transformation. As she flipped through the glowing articles on her phone, Mia felt a flicker of hope. "I can't believe this," she whispered to herself, disbelief mingling with a sense of pride. The art community embraced her, and new collaborations were on the horizon. Her dreams, once buried, began to resurface. But the past wasn't done with her yet. Just as she was savoring her newfound success, James reached out again, wanting to discuss their daughter. The thought of facing him made her heart sink. She had spent years rebuilding her life, but the idea of seeing him again stirred a whirlwind of emotions. At the coffee shop, Mia arrived early, the smell of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. She sat at a small table, fiddling with the napkin, her mind racing with memories of their life together. The door swung open and James stepped in, looking older, wearier. His charm was still there, but it felt overshadowed by the passage of time and regret. "Mia," he said softly, his voice laced with uncertainty. "I know I don't deserve this, but I really wanted to talk." "About what, James?" "About how you abandoned me for someone else," Mia replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. She remembered the way he walked away, the sound of her heart shattering, the taste of betrayal still bitter on her tongue. "I've had time to think," he continued, taking a seat across from her. "I miss our daughter, and I miss you. I made mistakes, but I want to be a better father. I want to try again." Mia looked out the window, watching raindrops race down the glass. Cultural reflection, in the living room, it hurt like hope. She was torn between the love she once had for him and the strength she had gained through her journey. "I just can't believe you think you can come back into my life after everything," Mia said, her eyes narrowing. "It's not that simple, James." He leaned in, desperation evident in his gaze. "I know it's not, but I'm willing to put in the work. I've changed. I want us to co-parent together." Mia studied his face, searching for signs of sincerity. "Do you really mean that? Or is this just another impulsive decision?" "I mean it," he said, voice trembling. "I'm not asking for us to be a couple again, but I want to be there for our daughter. I want to help you. I see how strong you are now, and I admire that." In that moment, Mia felt a shift. Perhaps this was an opportunity, not to rekindle their romance, but to build a new foundation for their daughter. She had spent years feeling broken, but now, as she glanced back at her artwork, she realized that healing was not just about moving on, it was about creating a new narrative. "Okay," she said slowly, feeling the weight lift just a little. "Let's talk about co-parenting. But understand this, you have to earn my trust back, and it won't happen overnight." James nodded, relief flooding his features. "I'll do whatever it takes." As they spoke, the wind chimes outside began to play a cheerful tune, a stark contrast to the heavy emotions in the air. Thought. The smell of BBQ brought painful memories. Yet, amid the nostalgia, there was a spark of something new, an opportunity for growth both for herself and for their daughter. In the following weeks, they began to navigate their new relationship, cautiously laying down the groundwork for co-parenting. Mia felt a sense of liberation as she took charge of her life, focusing on her art and her daughter. The chaos that once consumed her now felt manageable, even hopeful. And then came the unexpected twist. One evening, while Mia was preparing for another art show, she received a message from Olivia, her sister. "I'm proud of you, Mia. You've done what I always wanted to do, create something beautiful from chaos." Mia's heart raced. Olivia had never been supportive of her decisions. Reflection. That moment at the coffee shop changed everything. It was a pivotal realization that sometimes the support came from unexpected places, and growth often sprouted from the roots of pain. As the weeks passed, Mia discovered that healing didn't mean forgetting. It meant embracing the journey and allowing herself to be vulnerable. She poured her experiences into her art, creating pieces that reflected the beauty of resilience and the power of moving forward. In the end, as she stood in her studio, surrounded by her creations, she smiled to herself. "He abandoned me for a younger woman. 5 years later, he begged me to take him back." The words echoed in her mind, a bittersweet reminder of her past. And you, on your porch, how do you turn heartbreak into hope?